Royal Television. We inspire.
How does a couple go from being in love and exchanging vows on their wedding day, promising to love and to cherish each other till death do them part, to resorting to vicious domestic violence in marriage? This is 100% Woman. I am Timi Tokwe Oluleye. 100% Woman is the program that gives women a voice in the society, because women should not just be seen, they should also be heard. Today on 100% Woman, we are starting a new series called Marriage Unwrapped. This new series, tagged Marriage Unwrapped, was created to provide solutions to problems in marriage, because a lot of marriages do face a lot of challenges, which sometimes lead to divorce. Our aim with this series is for people to have happy and successful marriages that will stand the test of time. How is it possible for a couple in marriage to degenerate from professing love to each other on their wedding day to now exchanging blows in marriage or engaging in serious domestic violence?
First of all, let's understand the concept of domestic violence or abuse. When we are talking about domestic violence or abuse, we are talking about any kind of behavior that a person uses to subdue the other person, the intimate partner, or to threaten or to gain control over the other person. So the two key element words there are the word threat and control. Now, I could remember a story from the biblical point of view when our Lord Jesus Christ was present at a particular wedding feast in the book of John chapter 2 verses 1 to 11. The first part of verse 10, that there was a good wine. That tells you that every marriage has a focus, and nobody enters a marriage in order to fail. Everyone who enters the institution of marriage has at the back of his or her mind that the marriage is going to work. So everyone brings out the choice wine first. But along the line, the beginning is as sweet as candy. But with the lapse of time, it goes sour. You understand? What went wrong? That is your question, isn't it?
Yes.
Good. When there is no more wine, I'm talking about love. When there is no more love, then many things will begin to happen. And things that started well before, those things will become sour, and things will begin to go haphazardly in a home. That is not God's intention for marriage. That is not. Because marriage is not to be endured. Marriage is to be enjoyed. And God that has created the institution of marriage created it for a purpose, for man to be able to have a taste of the kingdom of heaven on earth.
Is it proper at all for a husband or wife to resort to violence when going through conflict in marriage?
It is not proper. Why? It is not proper because it has adverse effects. One of the adverse effects it has is this: it tears lives apart. When the husband or the wife, as the case may be, begin to beat each other, begin to go violent, you will discover that instead of them coming together, they will be thousands of miles apart. It affects the woman, it affects the children. In fact, it affects the family, the extended family as well. You know, in Africa, when you are married to your husband as well as to the extended family as well. So anything that brings problem into their home will not only have adverse effect on the husband alone, and on the wives alone and on the children alone. But it goes beyond that. It will affect the family. It will affect the community. It will affect their place of worship. It will affect everyone that surrounds them. Lives and properties sometimes are damaged. Not only this, it leads to separation. And that is why our society is what it is today. Many of these children that are miscreants in our society, that constitute nuisance in our society, when you look at it very well, closely, you will discover that most of these children came from broken homes. When we now look at this effect, this adverse effect, we cannot but to speak against domestic violence.
We have something we call school-related gender-based violence. It comes in form of physical violence, sexual violence, psychological violence. And when these children get to school, they would like to practice what they must have seen at home. So by the time they are practicing it, beating up their fellow students, bullying is part of it. Maybe they must have witnessed corporal punishment at home. They must have been punished. They will like to do that to other students, other mates at school. So by this, they are exposed to another form of violence at school. And this has really affected our school nowadays, affected the life of our children, and it has a very, very great impact in their life, negative one, bringing these children to violence. Domestic violence has opened doors to so many other violence around us, and we need to stand against it.
According to the survey, 43% of women feel a husband is justified. Now, where do you think that stems from? Is it culture? Is it what they have seen in their own parents' marriages? What do you think? Why do they have that? Why do they feel that a husband is justified?
So many things have contributed to that. Some have seen the way their father treated their mother, so they felt that's the same way they must treat their own wives too. And then our social norms too has contributed to it. I paid a lot of bride price over my wife, so I can treat her anyway. I can beat her. I can do anything. If I want sex, I can call her in anytime I want it. She must obey me. Anything I want to say, you sit down there, you must sit down there. Your salary, you must give it to me. You must not go out. You must not work. All these things are contributing to domestic violence. And other around us too. We can see so many things. Even when we are talking about our society, our community, you will look at our women, they'll be telling them that you listen is good. According to the Bible, husband is the head of the wife. You listen to your husband. But sometimes we see some husbands that they are misbehaving, and they don't have choice than to listen to them, to obey them, because they don't want to go back to their parents. They don't want to go back home. They don't want to leave their children. So they must face this violence, and it's really affecting the life of our women. It's very wrong for a man to be beating up his wife.
The fact that a man paid for his wife's bride price during their wedding, does that give him the right to do whatever?
It's unfortunate that this kind of behavior is rampant in our society, in Africa generally, and especially in Nigeria. Because of our cultural background, women are seen as second fielders. In fact, in some quarters, women are not supposed to be heard at all. They are seen as properties. They are seen as slaves. This is the mindset of some men. And that is why they can lift up their hands up, they can raise up their hands up and beat their wives. You cannot sever a man from his background. And actually, to tell you the truth, there are some women who do beat their husbands. You know, I witnessed that when I was in Lagos. There was this woman who was our co-tenant. Whenever the husband offends her, she will call her husband in. Then she will lock up the door. She will take her husband's belt, and she will begin to whip the husband. The husband will be saying, please, come and rescue me. And the woman would have thrown the key under the bed. And the children will be looking at them from the window. You see? So it is not only man that beats women. Women do beat their husbands as well. The use of alcohol also contribute to it. By the time a drunk gets home and he or she desires to be taken care of and that care doesn't come, what will be the reaction? You know? And he or she may begin to cause trouble. And that trouble, that little trouble, that sparkle, that little trouble might just become a serious beating, a violent behavior. You understand? Poverty has contributed to domestic violence and abuse in our society, in Africa generally. Poverty and lack of jobs. People are looking for lucrative jobs. They are here to get one. And the person who is impoverished, without food, without money, you understand? The man leaves home in the morning, or the woman leaves home in the morning. At night, when he or she comes back, he wanted to get something to eat, and the wife fails to provide food. What will be the reaction as well? I am not saying this to justify domestic violence. No. We are only looking at why is it common in Nigeria? Why is it common in Africa? Government too has a lot to do to curb all this. These are some of the factors that fuel the ember of domestic violence in our homes. Actually, it is not good. It is not ideal. The Quran frowns against it. The Bible frowns against it. In fact, even the traditional religious worshippers, they frown against it. Because I could remember, there were some Ifa couples that do forbid men to beat their wives in African traditional religion. So no sane person, underscore that, no sane person would like to be beating himself, because our own Bible makes us to understand that your partner, your wife, is your flesh, is your body. And as beautifully as I dress now, if I begin to punch myself, what will you think? You will call upon the church, may God forbid. Please come and see your pastor. I don't think everything is normal. And nothing at all is normal with any man or any woman who beats his wife or her husband.
Now, when a husband and wife are experiencing domestic violence in a marriage, what can they do about it? And how can couples in marriage resolve conflicts in marriage peacefully without resorting to domestic violence?
First of all, they must sit down together and dialogue. An English proverb says, "Jojo is better than war." They were not forced on each other. They should remember the beginning. They should remember the first day when the man proposed to the woman, and the kind of joy that came in at that moment. They should sit down together and have a discussion about things that are not normal in their marriage. Each of them should be prayerful, because some of these imbroglios are not caused ordinarily. Some of them are caused by the schemes of the devil, by the devil. You understand? And that is why they have to pray. That is why they need to move closer to God. That is why they need to talk together when the atmosphere is peaceful. They will look at the cause, the root cause of the problem. What is making my husband to beat me? Is it my mouth? Is it my nonchalant attitude? There's something we call catalyst. Something that does not change. There won't be any chemical reaction, and there won't be any chemical changes, but it changes things. The way and manner in which the woman those things might be the factor bringing that kind of reaction from a husband, might be the factor that is causing the problem for the man as well. They need to look at the root cause of the problem, talk about it, and each of them should determine to turn a new leaf. And if they have tried that and it fails, the woman or the man, as the case may be, may call one or two of their relatives, especially the respected one. Such a person could be intimated about what is going on in their home. A matured person, a mature counselor. It could be their religious leader. It could be their parent. Not only this, they should keep anger under check. Anger is a little word short of danger. The Yorubas will say, "Ibinu mokpo olowo won o lese nle." So instead of regretting later when you must have caused havoc, it is better to put your anger under check.
For a man or a woman experiencing domestic violence in their marriage, should they still stay inside that same home, or should they leave for some time? Or what would you advise? That they've been experiencing domestic violence for a long time.
It is unfortunate that people have been clamoring, people have been hammering on the fact that a woman or a man should not leave his or her husband or wife. You understand? God says, "I hate divorce," in the book of Malachi. And it is not good. Even our society frowns at divorce. Government policy frowns at divorce. Marriage Act of this nation frowns at divorce. We don't encourage it. And that is why when you go to these places where husbands and wives are being divorced, you see, they only give unto the other party a major amount of money to be paying because they don't want to encourage it. What will a woman with 3 children do with 5,000 naira, 2,000 naira per month? You understand? And that is why they give such a major amount of money, so that it will be discouraged. But when the life of the woman or the life of the man is at stake, you don't advise them to stay together under the same roof. Many women have lost their life that way. Many men have lost their life that way. Then, what did the word of God, the Bible, say about this? Listen, I will read 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verses 10 and 11. Apostle Paul is talking about marriage in this place. He says, "To the married, I give this command. A wife must not separate from her husband." That is the injunction. Ideal situation. Listen to verse 11 and listen carefully. Verse 11 says, "But if she does," can you see that even God makes provision for such? When the life of the partner is at stake. You understand? If she does, now you put it again, if he does, because it affects the two parties, the two of them. If he or she does, she must remain unmarried, or else be reconciled to her husband. You see, and a husband must not divorce his wife. You see, when things like this are happening, and you sense that there is danger looming, one of them might lose their life, it is better for the woman or the man to leave the other person. When he or she leaves, you see, an English proverb says, "Absence makes the heart grow fonder." You understand? By the time the man or the woman comes to her right senses, she might regret her action. He might regret his action and begin to make a plea on how the other person will come back. But if she had not left, you understand, she must have been a dead person. By that time, he or she will come back to his or her senses.
So while there's a separation for the person that's actually the one that is the perpetrator of the violence in the marriage, should that person go through counseling? Should they both go through counseling, or what should be done exactly? So that when they come back together, they won't go back to the same thing they've been experiencing.
That is the ideal thing to do.
Yes.
You understand? You see, when there is problem in a home, none of them is innocent. You understand? The Bible says a wise woman builds a home, but a foolish one tears it down. You understand? When a man is in a rage, and the woman is saying all sorts of things, the Yoruba says, "Ibinu bi ase, kò gbọ́dọ̀ bí kòkò ògì. Bí kòkò ògì bá bínú, owó ẹlẹ́kọ̀ọ́ wọgbó." You know, when you are sieving your pap, you put it in a sieve, and it will be coming down into the pot or into the bucket, as the case may be. The way the sieve is bringing down those things, if the pot or the bucket does the same thing, what will happen to the owner of the pap? You understand? Everything will be wasted. It does not pay God. It does not pay the family. It does not pay the society. You understand? And that is why all hands must be on deck. At the point of their separation, that brief period of separation, the wife must be worked upon. The husband must be worked upon by experienced counselors, by experienced and matured people to talk to them. Bí èèyàn ò bá lẹ́ni ire lọ́dọ̀ yóò yìnbọn jẹ́, ìmọ̀ràn èèyàn ní mú ní gbàgbé àròkàn. When things like this are happening in our society, the people that are concerned should not be left to themselves. We should counsel with them.
So domestic violence is not grounds for divorce, but there should be measures that should be put in place to resolve the situation.
Exactly.
Women are a vital part of our existence, the mothers of our children, our support. Hence, they deserve to live full lives 100%.